Thank you all for joining me today at this talk, in which we will be looking at how language may reveal clues to a forgotten star system. The language in question comes from the planet of Kellogg 2, which was thought to be uninhabited, and had no known settlements before the arrival of the UEE. Recent exploration teams, however, discovered not one but two previously unknown abandoned settlements, one of the Banu and one of the Kurthok race, who we've had almost no contact with. Relics there describe the Vanduul homeworld, which we know almost nothing about. Although we do not know what caused the settlements to fail, it does not appear to be due to interspecies conflict. Digital records have not survived, but a monument was constructed to commemorate fellowship between the two races, which suggests they got along very well. The monument was inscribed in both a Banu script and the poorly documented Kurthok language. This provides us a unique Rosetta Stone-like opportunity to learn more about the Kurthok and their language. In this talk, I'm going to show you sample translations from the monument's inscription, both in the Banu language and in the Kurthok dialect. I should emphasize that we don't actually have any spoken data of the Kurthok language, so we don't know how any of this is pronounced. But in any case, we can see in the Banu script on the left kind of a more typical poetic style that's common in a lot of Banu literature, saying, "Though the way home is lost, strangers have become friends, and forgotten joy has been remembered." In the Kurthok script, we see a similar sort of message. Though path known became path unknown, people unknown became people known, and happiness unknown became happiness known. And what I want to do is I want to draw your attention to these noun markers that appear. It's a suffix that appears after the noun morpheme, where it is indicating whether something is known to the speaker or unknown to the speaker. This will come up several times in these, and I'll show you a few more examples of them as the talk continues. Notice, interestingly, that there's a sort of parallelism in the structure of each Kurthok verse. Path known became path unknown, people unknown became people known. There's a kind of back and forth that's different from the lyricism of the Banu, but still very much in its own style. Continuing further into the inscription, we see the Banu verse, "One day the way will be remembered, and together we will return to Bacchus, the home of the Banu, and to Krell, the home of the Kurthok." And we see in the Kurthok script a very similar message. On a day unknown, the path unknown becomes path known, signifying that they know the way home, and people known, suggesting togetherness with the Banu script, return to Bacchus, known, and to Krell, known. In this section of the inscription, it takes a more fanciful turn. In this case, going from just simply going home to going to places that they perhaps have never been. For example, in the Banu inscription, "And we will find secluded Trees, the home of the collective of the Banu, which many of them have never visited in their entire lives. Mythical God's home, which is literally the home of the gods in Banu lore, so no one obviously has ever been there except gods. And Forgotten Vanduul home, which in this is referring to the home of the Vanduul homeworld." But notice on the right, in the Kurthok transcription, we see "and see," Trees, unknown, God's home, unknown, Vanduul home, known. And this leads us to the obvious question: Vanduul home known? This is not likely to be an accidental mistake. The symbols for known and unknown markers are not similar to each other. It wouldn't be an easy mistake to make if you were carving it into rock. They are also not obligatory. You can put these markers on nouns to indicate known or unknownness, but you don't have to. For example, the word for dirt, which we've seen in other Kurthok transcriptions, dirt known is homeland, your home, somewhere that you're familiar with. It can be like your home country, but you can just have dirt, and that's dirt. There's nothing else to it. It's just, grab a handful of dirt. So while this is not a guarantee of being error-free, the symbols were carved into stone. Someone spent a fair amount of time doing this, and so it seems unlikely that this is purely an accident. And this leads us to a rather interesting conclusion. It suggests that the Kurthok may know the name and location of the Vanduul homeworld, and that there is a particular world that is their home. And this raises further questions. The Banu in their inscription, remember, are talking about it being this lost, unknown place, and the Kurthok are saying that it's known. Did the Kurthok tell the Banu about this? Was there any clarification as to the fact that one race may have known something that the other didn't? Is the general Kurthok population aware of Vanduul home and its whereabouts? But we have to be careful not to get ahead of ourselves. We need more data. One reference, possibly an error, to the Vanduul homeworld is not enough. We need other samples of the Kurthok language to see if similar use of Vanduul home known appears. Even better, digital records such as star charts or maps, if we could find those that would reveal jump gate coordinates or give us some other kind of confirmation about this, we would have a lot more to go on. So, we need more data, and my message to you is go get it. The Kellogg 2 situation of the Banu and the Kurthok having contact is probably not going to be repeated. This seems like a very unlikely thing. But there may be other Kurthok splinter colonies that exist elsewhere in the galaxy that we have not yet discovered, even though we don't generally have access to their space or much contact with them. Finding these splinters could be the key to solving this puzzle about the Vanduul homeworld, or reveal other new mysteries that we will need to look at in the future. Thank you very much, and I'm now ready to take your questions.